Okay, so what I'd like to do next is I want to show you how this correction key works. Okay, and to do that, I'd like you to put your PDAs down and watch my screen as I walk you through this. Okay. The one thing I want to point out about this correction key is that it only works for 30 seconds. It's only activated for 30 seconds, so it's critical that the nurse make this correction as soon as possible. The correction key will actually correct a data entry, and it will take you all the way back to the beginning. So let's say in our last data scenario that I was doing a bedside report at the bedside, and I entered data from my previous location. I said I was in the patient room. My current location, I said I was in the patient room. And the activity I said was a bedside report, but I accidentally entered the tech as the lowest skilled resource that could do the job, and I wanted to correct it. Notice that my counter incremented here so that I know that the data actually entered into the device. To do a correction, I'll just hit the correction key. And in this case, either one of these options is okay to hit, but I want you to go ahead for the training to select the double X. Notice that we go from 1 to 2, or from 2 to 1. So we've deleted our last entry, and now we can re-enter the data. To do that, I'm going to hit patient room. Current location is patient room. Activity is bedside report. And worker assignment is RN required. Now I'm back to 2. Okay. I'd like you to pause this video for a second, and I want you to actually play with this correction key. I want you to go ahead and enter some data, and then hit the correction key and do a correction, and then re-enter the data. So I want you to actually play with it and get used to it. I want you to take a minute or two to do that. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the location list. So I want you to look at the location screen. There's a couple things I want to point out. First, I want you to notice that there are 2 meds locations. There's general patient meds and storage, and also narcotic storage. Many of you may have a single meds room where both general patient meds and narcotics are stored. So in that case, if you're there for general patient meds, you're going to say you're in the general patient med storage. If you're in that meds room for narcotics, you're going to say that you're there for narcotics storage. Okay. The other thing I want to show you is that there's this location called document server. This document server is the identical activity list as the nursing station, and it's designed to capture locations on the unit that allow nurses to do the same work that they do in the nursing station. So sometimes they're countertops between locations that nurses can do documentation and other activities that they do in the nursing station. Sometimes nurses have workstation on wheels that they roll around in the hallways. But nurses at that workstation on wheels, that's considered a documentation server. Also, there are some locations on the unit that aren't listed here. For example, the hallway, the unit manager's office. So if the nurse is on a location that's not listed here on the unit, then they'll select this on the unit location. So this on the unit location pretty much covers everything that's not listed on in this list here for locations on the unit. Okay, so now that we've reviewed the location list, what I'd like to do is go over a couple of scenarios. The next scenario that I'd like us to key in together is the dressing change scenario. So let's say that I'm the nurse and I'm in the middle of a dressing change. I've actually got gloves on and I'm cleaning a wound, and all of a sudden the PDA alarm's in my pocket. All right. So I'm not going to be able to get to the device immediately, so I'm going to hear the PDA alarm, and then I'm going to continue to finish the dressing change. And while I'm doing the dressing change, about every 15 seconds, the PDA is going to vibrate to remind me that I need to enter the data. All right, so let's go ahead and code this together. Once I get cleaned up and I'm ready to enter the data, the first question is, what's my previous location? So in this case, I was doing that dressing change, and I'm going to say my previous location was the supply storage location. I needed to get the supplies for the dressing change. So here I'm going to say I came from supply storage. The next question is, what's my current location? In this case, I'm actually in the patient room doing the dressing change, so I'm going to say my current location is the patient room. As I look through the list of activities, I notice that the first one is bedside procedure. That actually could apply here. But a couple more down, I see wound management, and I know that the wound management activity is actually the most appropriate activity for what I was doing. So in this case, I'm going to basically say I was doing a wound management activity. And when the PDA asked me for the lowest skilled resource that could do this job, in this case, I'm going to say that an RN was required. Okay. So hopefully you were following along for the dressing change 1. All right.